All right, ladies and gentlemen. So people ask me about this, and I find the answering kind of interesting. So let's see here. Whoa, where is it? Okay, here we go. Right, read more. Yeah, right here. Okay, cool. So the question on being posed here is, and I've had multiple questions kind of like this. If you were a game dev for Classic Plus and wanted to make Retribution more competitive in raids and PvE, what are some small changes that could accomplish this without doing the going the SOD route? For tanking, it seems that all they need is taunt. That's pretty much true. Taunt's just perfectly fine. Heck, we're raid tanking even without taunt. It's just some bosses are really annoying without it. I have some thoughts with Deep Ret. So a lot of classes in season or in Classic World of Warcraft can actually be buffed. A lot of spells can be buffed, and they wouldn't affect PvP or the open world or any way, shape, or form. So, for example, Holy Shock comes to mind. Holy Shock on a 30-second cooldown is ridiculous. It could be a 10-second cooldown, and it would affect PvP negatively in no way, shape, or form. If it's on an 8-second cooldown, then it can affect PvP in a negative way, because you can Holy Shock someone, wait the 1.5 seconds, like, Hodge stun them for 6 seconds, grenade stun them for like another 1.5 seconds for a total stun of 7.5 seconds. Oh, look, I get a Holy Shock you twice in a burst. Like, okay, yeah, that's kind of bad. But at 10 seconds, it's not possible Holy Shock twice in a burst, and so it's just kind of interesting. So I responded. First one, of course, is a separation of church and state. If you haven't seen that video, so for and this is a toolkit in the hands of the devs the game devs should need, whether they use it extensively or sparingly. It's definitely something they should have in their toolkit, where basically spells and abilities will work differently or be buffed differently in raids than they are in the actual open world. So, for example, when I was playing Season of Discovery and like in Phase 2, and Blizzard decided that they wanted to increase the DPS of Shadow Priest to make them competitive, and the next thing we know, Void Plague gets buffed by 300%. And yeah, the Raiders are happy because they're now a competitive DPS in Raid, but it absolutely crapped on PvP for a long period of time, because if you didn't have Cleanse or you couldn't get that crap off you, you just melted. It was just terrifying. Ugh, horrible. So yeah, separation of church and state is one way to go. If there's no separation of church and state, and keep in mind this is not mutually exclusive with the separation of church and state, is that I'm starting to think that opportunity cost becomes a game dev's best friend. So for the example I have here, have Repent talent give both Repent and Crusader Strike. Like 100, but like a really good Crusader Strike. Like the Crusader, a 6-second cooldown Crusader Strike that does 100% weapon damage and can proc seals, because that's what you really want in Raid. It can also give mana back if you want, that's fine. But when I say opportunity cost, make it share a CD with Repent. Meaning that if I Crusader Strike, I can't Repent for 6 seconds, and if I Repent, I can't Crusader Strike for 60 seconds. This would make it very interesting and very dynamic in PvP, because Repent is amazing in PvP. Crusader Strike is also amazing in PvP, especially if it's written like that. It's exactly what Deep Ret Paladin dreams of. Like that's like a Wet Paladin's Crusader Strike dream in Classic World of Warcraft. But if you tell them that it's opportunity costed against Repent, they're going to be like, bruh. And that helps keep things in balance and in line. Against some targets, they're going to want to use Repent and not Crusader Strike. Against other targets, they're going to want to use Crusader Strike and not Repent. But as a general rule, there's such a hard opportunity cost there that it helps keep it in check. Another great example I have down here is at bottom is like Lava Burst. So you want Lava Burst on Shamans, cool. Have it share a CD with Chain Lightning. Right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, so now they can burst with Chain Lightning, or they can burst with Lava Burst, but they can't do a Chain Lightning or a Lava Burst Chain Lightning burst. Have them share a CD. Opportunity cost basically becomes your best friend. Option number 3. Where's 3? Okay, here. Because he's specifically talking about what are some little changes you can do to make Paladins Ret Paladins more DPS viable in Raid. and I'll just read it really fast. Paladins are low DPS in raid because they have nothing that increases their attack speed. Their competitors, rogues and warriors, have things that increase their attack speed. Warriors have plus 25% increased attack speed. That's basically when they crit, they get flurry, right? And then when you're in raid, you're never going to stop critting, so you pretty much have this flurry up at all times, blah, 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 blah. Well, a high-level player that, at high-level play, that makes them go from like 1600 DPS to 2000 DPS. It's basically an additional large percentage multiplier on something, and the power of classes in video games usually is directly related to how many multipliers are actually, separate multipliers are on top of them, right? Like getting a plus 100% damage bonus and nothing else is not the same as getting 5 plus 20% damage bonuses, right? By the time you're done with 5 plus 20% damage bonuses, the thing's doing like plus 150 bonus damage because they're all compounding on top of each other. So the fact that Paladins don't have an increased attack speed is really, really bad for their DPS in Classic World of Warcraft competitive raiding environment. So the answer here was fix it by repenting a target that cannot be repented, fills the Paladin with anger or, hatred or rage or whatever the hell it is, righteous fury or some shit like that. Increasing attack speed by 25% for 60 seconds, which just happens to be the cooldown of a Retribution Paladin's repent. When you're in raid and you try to repent the boss, he is going to laugh at you, which means that this will work on basically every boss in the entire game. You can't repent them. They're immune to it. Bada bing, bada boom. The Deep Ret Paladin gets plus 25% damage bonus. In PvP, good luck finding a target. This is balanced in PvP. Is good luck finding a target that can't be repented, number one. And if you can, the question starts becoming why. Repent is so good in PvP that trading it for a 25% attack speed bonus is kind of like, ooh, that's a tough call. Like, that is a tough call. It's so good in PvP that trading it with the Crusader Strike is even questionable. Then I say it doesn't play well with the Crusader Strike number 2 option. Could have it say also CS doesn't share a CD with Repent, but that would be like a separation of church and state thing. When the 25% bonus is active. Or, and I found this even more interesting, is you just do 2 and 3 and let the Paladins decide which is better. So at this point, you'd have Paladins in raid. So keep in mind, Repent is doing all kinds of crap at this point, right? When you take the 31 Repent talent, you get Repent, you get the new Crusader Strike ability, and the new Repent is when it fails on a target, you get a 25% attack speed bonus. If you just leave it with all of that statement, like it's opportunity costed, it shares a cooldown with... you get Crusader Strike, but it shares a cooldown with Crusader Strike. And oh, by the way, if you repent a target and the target is unrepentable, you get 25% increased attack speed. At this point, the question in raid would be, do I go with a fast two-handed weapon and plus 25 attack speed, or do I do the slow two-handed weapon with the Crusader Strike? Because they can't do both. And that just makes the game more interesting. And on top of that, it's still opportunity costed with itself. Opportunity cost becomes your best friend. And you can help balance the PvP through basically opportunity cost. Again, we have the example of Lava Burst down here. It's like all the Shamans want Lava Burst. Please give us Lava Burst in Classic Plus. Okay, cool. Here it is. It shares a CD with Chain Lightning. And you're just like, fuck. So I can Chain Lightning Burst on you and I'll do about 4,000 damage, or I can Lava Burst on you and do about 4,000 damage. Okay, cool. So you can see how things are still balanced. Opportunity cost becomes basically your best friend. That's where my brain is at right now. Separation of church and state and opportunity cost are kind of the way to go. So yeah. Anyways, I'll end the video here, and Deus Vult, boys. But it seems that the opportunity cost is, you can give them powerful abilities, but you link them opportunity cost-wise with other really powerful PvP abilities, so that it forces them to choose between one or the other in a classic WoW context, which means that, again, you're not going to break classic WoW PvP, right? Again, this is a perfect example here with the Shamans, very cut and dry. Chain Lightning and Lava Burst, in a burst, do about the exact same amount of damage. The reason why they're so bursty in Season of Discovery is because they're going Lava Burst, Chain Lightning, blah, 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 blah. Earth Shock, that's literally the burst combo, is Flame Shock, Lava Burst, Chain Lightning, Earth Shock, Kamehameha. But if they share a CD, that just can't happen. It'll be a classic. The classic WoW burst is it's Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Earth Shock. And what this would do is that burst still exists in the game, or they can do Flame Shock, Lava Burst, Lightning Bolt, Earth Shock. I don't think they have enough time to do that. So their burst would probably look like Lava Burst, Earth Shock, or Lava Burst, Lightning Bolt, Earth Shock. Yeah, that's what it would be. It would be Lava Burst, Lightning Bolt, Earth Shock. Or Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Earth Shock would be their two burst options. And both of those burst options would do roughly the same amount of damage. So it doesn't really break the game whatsoever. So yeah, opportunity cost is probably going to be your best friend. Anyways, I'll end the video here, and Deus Vult, boys, again, these things aren't mutually exclusive. Some can be designed to have opportunity costs. Some can be designed with a separation of church and state, yada, yada, yada. So anyways, I'll end the video here, and Deus Vult.